Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, our guest is Mike Crawley, Chief Executive Officer for the National Kidney Foundation of Wisconsin, Altruistic Living Chain Kidney Donor, Charitable Cyclist, the Freeman's 2020 Citizen of the Year, nonprofit leader, County Board Supervisor known for his cheerfulness, kindness, and hard work. Mike first began working with nonprofits in 2000 when his young son Andy was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. He worked in manufacturing for 35 years and began immersing himself in volunteering for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, holding several leadership roles. Through all the rewarding experiences helping others, he really wanted to do more with nonprofits. So in 2018, he left manufacturing to become the CEO of his local Habitat for Humanity. Just 2 years later, he saw an opening for the CEO of the National Kidney Foundation of Wisconsin and applied and landed that job. This suited Mike as he had always been an organ donor potential with marked on his driver's license, and he has donated over, now get this, 9 gallons of blood through the years. Clearly, he has saved over 100 lives with his blood donations during that time. Quote, "This job was perfect for me," unquote, said Mike. Mike, as he approached 60 years of age last August, wanted to make more of an impact. After attending and speaking at the National Kidney Foundation of Wisconsin's Spotlight on Life Gala in 2024, Mike began to find his way. Quote, "Seeing and hearing firsthand how donation changed donors and recipients' lives, it was incredible," said Mike. "I began thinking about donating a kidney after a triggering experience. This was visiting 3 dialysis clinics in that next week, and that was one heck of an experience." We're going to talk a lot more about that. Mike is an avid bicyclist and was concerned that living with one kidney could affect his cycling. He has been biking since 2001. He met Mark Scotch, a guy that's been on the broadcast with us 3 times, a living kidney donor who has been biking across the country to raise awareness of organ donation. Mike spoke and rode with him in August of 2024 and a few other times and learned that Mark's donating a kidney had not affected his biking at all. Subsequently, Mike filled out a living donor questionnaire online with UW Health Transplant in Madison, Wisconsin on August the 5th, 2024, 2 days after getting home from his ride to cure diabetes on his 60th birthday, August 3rd. Mike, do you know you and I share a birthday? August 3rd is my birthday, too. August 3rd, 2024. He was evaluated on October 16th, 2024, and by October 31st, he was informed that he was in excellent health and approved to donate. On January 8th, 2025, Mike donated his kidney to a stranger, and this act set off a chain of donations. Quote, "My kidney donation started a chain that helped 4 people get a life-saving transplant. It's incredible to know that one kidney led to several transplants happening across the country, making such an impact on so many families," unquote. Because Mike donated through the National Kidney Registry Voucher Program as an altruistic donor, he is allowed to list up to 5 loved ones to receive priority on a living kidney donor transplant should they ever need one. Because diabetes is one of the top causes of kidney disease, and his son has a 50% chance of developing kidney failure, Mike's donation would help get his son raised to the top of the list for a living kidney donation should he ever need one. Mike continues to share his kidney donation journey, inspiring and encouraging others who may consider living kidney donation. Mike states, quote, "The more that people know the need for kidney transplants and the more about the process of becoming a living kidney donor, the more we can give the gift of life to all those who are in need, unquote. Mike was named the Freeman's 2020 Citizen of the Year in Wakonska County. I'm going to mispronounce that. Wakonska County, Wisconsin. Mike recently posted on his Facebook page, and as part of the National Kidney Foundation's Kidney Hero Giving Day, Mike is completing his training to become a certified NKF living donor peer mentor, committed to helping others who are going through the process of possibly becoming a living kidney donor. All this week, the National Kidney Foundation has been asking me, who are your kidney heroes? Valen Kiefer and Kent Bressler are two that come to mind. Please welcome another of my great kidney heroes to the broadcast. The one and only Mike Crawley is here. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Thank you very much for the very warm, kind introduction. And it's Waukesha, Wisconsin. Waukesha.
Thank you. I should know that, right? Because of that old insurance company that used to advertise on television. Bad Uncle Jim. There'll be a new Uncle Jim in the morning. Did I state everything correctly?
Yes, you did, Jim. Thank you very much.
Please tell us about where you grew up, your educational history, and your employment experiences.
Wow, it's been quite a journey. I was born and raised in Illinois, raised for just a few years in Peoria, Illinois. Family, my mom and dad moved us to Chicago. And then eventually, when I was 3 years old, we moved to New Jersey. I grew up in Middlesex, New Jersey, about 16 years there. That's in central New Jersey. And then shortly after that, I went to college at Ohio Valley Business College, a very small college in Northeast Ohio. Got an accounting degree, a business management degree. Didn't know where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do for a living, but I eventually ended up in manufacturing. And I spent about 35 years in manufacturing, a variety of executive positions, and most recently a vice president at a plastics company in southeastern Wisconsin. I really enjoyed manufacturing in the quality field, but then all aspects of manufacturing. And had my first exposure to nonprofit work, and volunteered and got involved with nonprofit Juvenile Diabetes Foundation at the time it was known. And that really set my career in motion.
Are you a married man, Mike?
Yes, my wife Sherry and I have been married for 33 years, approaching our 34th year this October. And we have two children, young adults now. One's 29, that's Andy, our son, and then our daughter Marissa, 26. Marissa lives out in Hollywood, California, in the artist management field, and our son works in the automotive business, and he's in southeastern Wisconsin. And then we also have our daughter-in-law and our grandson with a soon-to-be-expected granddaughter.
And as I recall from the photographs, you have two dogs and a cat.
Yes. Well, our cat unfortunately passed away recently, but we have two dogs. We have a Pomeranian. Her name is Maisie. And then we have a Sheltie, and his name is Max. Love our pet. And we also have a horse. We don't keep the horse at our house. It's at a barn not too far outside of the city of Waukesha. So we also have a horse, of course.
Please talk to us about your son, Andy, and his experience with type 1 diabetes.
Yes, Andy was diagnosed when he was just over 2 years old with type 1. He developed quite a thirst and he lost some weight, and we were concerned. We took him to the doctor. Way back then, they did not do a great job diagnosing him, and I knew a little bit about type 1 and type 2 diabetes through my work. in safety and health. And so I suggested, can they do a glucose check? And they were kind of curious why I would ask for that specifically. And well, they did it. And the next morning, received a phone call after his blood panel came back that need to get him to Children's Hospital as soon as possible to the ER. His blood sugar was 860. Normal is 80 to 120. And so we did that. And, my wife and I knew right then and there that our life was changed. His life was changed because type 1 diabetes is a chronic disease that there is no cure for. So he is insulin dependent until there's a cure. And I decided, instead of feeling bad and sorry and upset and all, what do we need to do? And my wife felt the same. Her and I felt very confident we can take care of him. And so I wanted to get involved with a local organization that could help us. And that's when I found out about JDF, Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, back in 2000. Now they're referred to as Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, JDRF, and then recently changed their name to Breakthrough T1D. So that's our son. He, through the past 25 years, he has done very well with diabetes management, takes care of himself very well, and has had no issues. But we all know that disease is a silent disease as well. You could have blindness, loss of limb, kidney failure, stroke, and on and on. There's many complications. But hopefully he can live a normal, healthy, happy life. And we did our best to educate him and raise him. And now he's raising a family. And he's doing very well.
Please talk to us a little bit about your experience volunteering with the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation and whatever they're currently calling themselves.
Yeah, now they're Breakthrough T1D, so Breakthrough Type 1 Diabetes. Evolving. The mission is still constant. It is to find a cure for diabetes and its complications and improving the lives of those with diabetes. To take the juvenile out of it, because you can be diagnosed at any age with insulin-dependent diabetes. I really enjoyed my time on the board of directors. I served 4 one-year terms as a board president and really enjoyed that. I held all the officer roles. I was named the government relations state leader for Wisconsin for 7.5 years. Went to Washington, D.C., advocated for more diabetes funding for research to the National Institutes of Health. Met a lot of great people, making a tremendous impact and progress in improving the lives of those with type 1 diabetes. And I've continued to stay involved with the organization until there's a cure. It's not something that you can just quit, just like type 1 diabetes. You just can't quit type 1 diabetes. So we need to stay steadfast in the mission. And so there's what's called the Ride to Cure Diabetes. And 15 years ago, the organization was looking for a ride in the Midwest, and I proposed La Crosse, Wisconsin. It's an area that I lived in for about 5.5 years, right across the Mississippi River in La Crescent, Minnesota. And I proposed this ride to the organization. They sent out a scouting team, and through all the work that we put into recommending this, the executive director and myself, they named that as the official new ride for the organization. And it raises about $2 million every year for type 1 diabetes research. It is a very popular ride. At one time, we had 700 riders participate. Just most recently in August, early August is when it happens. We have a 102-mile ride in 3 states in one day, and we raised $1.88 million with just over 350 riders. So my involvement has been great. I love it. I love their mission, and we need a cure for type 1 diabetes.
Wow. I understand that in 2018 you left manufacturing and you became the CEO for your local Habitat for Humanity. Can you please discuss with us your experience with working with them?
I'm getting goosebumps because I'm actually looking right at a plaque that they gave me when I left. Um, I was asked to serve as CEO of the organization Habitat for Humanity of Waukesha County, and I just thoroughly enjoyed what we were doing, building homes, moving families into affordable housing, um, and not giving them a handout, but giving them a helping hand, lifting them into home ownership. And the 2 years just flew by. It seems like a short time to work somewhere, but we accomplished so much. Built 7 homes in less than 2 years. We had a restore. Habitat has a retail operation at many locations around the country. And I had an 18,500 square foot restore that we totally refurbished, renovated, and it provides a great income for Habitat for Humanity to help build the homes that we need to get built. I loved working with the people. All walks of life are in need for affordable housing, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the transition from there to National Kidney Foundation of Wisconsin, it wasn't something that I was looking to leave uh, Habitat for Humanity because I thoroughly enjoyed it. But it was kind of curious how I came about this opportunity here. I was on LinkedIn Premium. I had just signed on for the day. I had just bought the subscription, and I was looking for more ways to bring funding into Habitat and companies that I could connect with and leaders. And as I'm scrolling through, I saw orange, didn't know it at the time, didn't know anything really about kidney disease or kidneys. And I saw this orange kidney scroll by. I went back and I saw CEO. That was when the change hit. And so I informed the board of directors at Habitat for Humanity that I had an interest in this organization, and I was actually um, hired and transitioned nicely out, put a great interim CEO in place, and they're thriving. And it was like watching a baby be born and growing. And I felt very comfortable moving on. I think that's the best way you can handle something like that, especially if it's in your heart, really wanting to help others.
Please explain why organ donation, kidney donation, and blood donation are so important to you.
Wow, that's a big one because this really started when I was younger. I've always been interested in helping people. And so when I grew up in Middlesex, New Jersey, I didn't really have a chance to excel in an interest of becoming a paramedic. I joined our local Middlesex, New Jersey volunteer rescue squad, which is still a volunteer organization in central New Jersey. Um, I wanted to drive an ambulance. I wanted to become a paramedic. And that was the start of interest in donating blood, becoming an organ donor. Um, and so fast forward to when our son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, uh, that desire to help and that passion of donating blood, donating an organ when I was deceased. I never thought of donating an organ while I was alive. Um, and I started the process of donating blood on a regular basis, and I'm at 9 gallons and 1 pint since 2016. Prior to that, I donated dozens and dozens of times, but they didn't keep an accurate record, so I don't know exactly how many real gallons I've donated. But I feel the satisfaction of knowing a small task like that it is a task in a way because you need to eat healthy, you need to stay hydrated, you need to take care of yourself, get the sleep before you donate, so you can be healthy to donate a pint of blood. And I just did that on a regular basis. So wanting to help others, donating blood, donating time, volunteering, that is what kind of got me interested in National Kidney Foundation of Wisconsin, because you're helping people in a health arena, and you can advocate. And being a person that loves to give and help others, I thought I can learn more, I can do more, I can potentially help our son as well by learning more about kidney disease. And so that was my desire as I decided to transition from another nonprofit and in manufacturing to National Kidney Foundation of Wisconsin.
Please tell us a little bit about your experience with the National Kidney Foundation's Drive for Dialysis program, sponsored by Adelex in March of 2024. What is that program all about, and why was the experience important to you personally?
Well, the company again is Ardelyx. It's a pharmaceutical company, and this was the life-changing moment for me. There is what's called Drive for Dialysis with National Kidney Foundation, and that Drive for Dialysis is a sponsorship that organizations can sponsor, producing care packages, assembling care packages for dialysis patients in the community where you live. And there were 3 locations that were identified by National Kidney Foundation. One was out in Massachusetts, one was in California, and the third one was Wisconsin. And the company Ardelyx has offices in those locations. And so they pay a fee to sponsor, to produce these bags. It's a team building exercise, bringing their staff together to help support an organization in their community. And of course, they work with National Kidney Foundation. And so I heard about this through a phone call from the national office, and we had a lot going on the week prior, a gala. And that was when they were going to be producing these bags and wanted someone to pick them up and distribute them. And I said, we really don't have the people to do it. We have a gala going on, and I'd like to know more about this. I want to be the one to do it. I want to go pick the bags up, 100 bags, care packages, and distribute them. And I want to meet people, and I want to go to the dialysis clinics. I want to experience not necessarily being hooked up to be dialyzed, but I want to learn more. So they said, well, we can work with you. How about next week? So that Monday, I went to the local office. They greeted me with smiles. There were almost a dozen of them, and helped me load all the bags up into my truck. I have a pickup truck. The whole back, inside, in the back seat, and in the front, were full of these 100 care bags. And I thought, boy, I got my work cut out for me today, getting these 100 bags to 3 dialysis clinics in 2 different counties. I talked with them for about 2 hours, the people at Ardelyx, and they inspired me. They were surprised that the CEO was here to pick up these and was going to personally distribute them. And that kind of put me in a great mood. I was really excited. And I get to the first dialysis clinic. And the first one, they greeted me very well, smiles and thank you for arriving. Can we help you bring the bags in? And so I get in and I'm doing that. Let's do a photo op. And, I wanted to share on social media what this organization's doing to help patients that are on dialysis. And they said, would you like to come in and personally deliver them? And I said, absolutely. So I go in, I'm all cheery, excited about doing this, and my heart sunk. I heard the machines pumping. I saw most of the people either sleeping or just fiddling their thumbs. Some people do have puzzles and things like that they can work on, and but they're there anywhere from 2, 4, 6, 7 hours every other day. That's their life. And it really hit me. I walked around, I didn't shake hands, but I handed a bag to them, and you would expect, oh, thank you, kind of a cheery remark. I didn't get that. Matter of fact, almost everybody was just like, okay, and most of them didn't even say thank you. And I realized why. When I got back to my truck, I had tears because I was posting this on social media, that what I observed was a very sad, hopeless feeling that they may have, that they know they're not going to improve. They're not most likely going to get a kidney transplant. And this is how they live the rest of their life. And it really hurt me, bothered me, that we don't have a better way of improving their lives. This is such just a tough thing. And so I went to the next one, same thing, same experience. Went to the last one, same experience. And that was the time where I felt the light switch turned on. I need to think about what can I do? I had been with the organization for 3.5 years now. There was no way I would have considered donating a kidney prior to that. So if that event had not happened, I have the same feeling like many people, the fear of, surgery and removing an organ. And I had 3.5 years of conversation with recipients, with donors. I know the facts. I know the need. 90,000 people nationwide are looking for a kidney. 1,250 or so in Wisconsin are in need of a kidney. And we don't have enough donors to go around. Deceased donors, very tiny percentage, 1%, become an organ donor. You have to be at the right place at the right time, and the health of the organs and so forth. Where you can really make an impact is becoming a living kidney donor. So that's when I started thinking, maybe this is the time to do this. I'll stop there for a moment.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about your experience with cycling and biking, particularly the events that took place on your 60th birthday, August 3rd, and the talks you had with bikers that had experiences with kidney transplants and donating a kidney. Tell us what happened.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because that was the second part. That ultimately was the kicker for me to be on the path to becoming a living kidney donor. So as I approached my 60th birthday, August 3rd of last year, I thought I want to do something big, impactful, meaningful with my life. Leave a legacy. Besides having kids and getting married and so forth, all those are really important. Buying your first house, your first car. I wanted to do something more. And I knew that becoming a living kidney donor was quite significant. Not a whole lot of people do it. And when they do, it's typically because of it's a loved one or it's a close friend. And then a lot of times they're not even a match for that person. So when I got close to my 60th birthday, I was thinking, when I'm riding, if I feel healthy and if I do really well on my 60th birthday, which was the ride last year, when I cross that finish line, I'm going to make a decision. And so I finished 102 miles as a USA cycling coach and an official coach for the Breakthrough T1D Ride to Cure Diabetes. I just got done helping hundreds of people cross the finish line, safe, sound, and smiling. I had to cross it myself, but I'm one of the last to cross. And I got off my bike. I didn't do a thing the whole day, just sat around. And I thought, dang it, I'm 60 years old and I just did something that there's 30, 40-year-old people like they're exhausted and they're tired and like struggling, and it's like I didn't do a thing all day. And a little girl came up to me, she had type 1 diabetes, as a volunteer. She put a medal around my neck, and I started crying. And as I was thinking of it, it brought me back to when our son was diagnosed, and he was only 2, and this girl was probably 4 or 5 years old. And I thought, I know what I'm here to do. I'm here to make that decision. I am going to apply to be a living kidney donor. And there was a fear when I was thinking about it. Okay, what if I get assessed and I go through the evaluation and they find something wrong with me and I'm not going to be eligible? But then I thought, what if I am? So I just need to do it. So on my 60th birthday, at that finish line, I said to myself, I committed to myself, Monday when I go into work, I'm going, before staff comes in, I'm going to apply. So I did. 2 days later, the whole world started changing for me, as I started receiving phone calls and emails and setting up Zoom meetings with a living donor coordinator and on, health questionnaires. And that was it. And, fast forward to October, I was invited in for all-day health evaluation. That was quite significant. It's the most thorough physical you will get in your lifetime. And I was a little concerned about that. Again, like, what if they find something wrong with me? But there's a benefit. If you do find that out, that there's something wrong, cancer, heart issues, on, you can address it. And if you are not approved, you can share that experience with other people, that this is what I thought of. I decided to go forward. I found this out and I can do something about it. But if you can get through that, all that process, the psychosocial assessment, the evaluations, the blood panel, the echocardiogram, CAT scan, x-ray, more psychosocial assessments, if you can get through all that and get approved, wow. And for that, I was grateful because I was approved.
Okay. I read that in addition to filling out questionnaires, you went through 13 appointments in one day
Yes.
to become eligible to donate.
Yes. So when you are invited in, they set you up in My Chart is how it worked for me. So My Chart is online health. In all the appointments, from your blood, collecting your urine, carrying your urine around for a full 24 hours, and then bringing that into the hospital. And then, of course, the echocardiogram, CAT scan, x-ray, those were all specific appointments, meeting with a nephrologist, meeting with a living donor coordinator, social worker, and then talking about financial side of things. And, they would ask you, how did you come about wanting to donate? And of course, I shared my story, which I just did with you all. And, they thought that was really interesting. And, how would you feel if you didn't meet your recipient? How would you feel if you didn't hear how that went, if it was successful? And how you respond to questions and, your mental state and why you want to donate and all that. That was all throughout that 8-hour day at the transplant facility. And, it was all done real time. So every time I went to another appointment in the hospital, sometimes it was on the 4th floor, sometimes it was on the 1st floor, and meeting with different people, they would tell you real time whether or not you're doing well, if there are concerns, if you're a good candidate, excellent candidate. I was told I was an excellent candidate throughout the whole process. So every appointment I found out I'm eligible. And then ultimately, when final tests were done, I was approved.
I understand that after you were approved, you picked January 8th
Yes.
as a surgery date. Why did you pick January 8th?
That's another great question. Well, I didn't want to do it over the holidays. I wanted to enjoy the holidays, but I also thought I want to be the first at the transplant hospital in the new year. I picked the 8th because that was the first day that they were able to do a transplant surgery, and 8 is infinity, and 8 also looked to me like two kidneys stacked, and like I'm going to separate one. Um, and I shared this with them that was the reason why I picked January 8th. And the reason why infinity was important to me is because becoming an altruistic living kidney donor, also known as non-directed, meaning you're just giving the gift of life to somebody, uh, it can start a kidney chain. And when you start a kidney chain, it can go for two people in total. It would start with one, and then another person could end up with one as well, called the paired kidney exchange program. Or it could be a couple dozen people. And so I thought, well, it'd be great if I could help save more than just my recipient's life. And ultimately, what happened was I did start a chain that ended up saving 4 lives.
Wow. So let me make sure I understand. On the morning of January 8th, 2025, you donated your kidney to a stranger. That's what it means when you're talking about altruistic, non-directed donors.
Correct.
Do you now know who you donated to?
So another wonderful part of the transplant hospital program, they have a correspondence program, and you are permitted immediately to write a letter or a card anonymously. You can use your first name. That's it. And they will then forward that to the recipient. And so the letter is read to make sure it's sanitized, that there's no town listed, your age, your occupation, things like that. And so I wrote a letter. When I got home, I was in the hospital for a day and a half, sent home on that second day, and wrote a letter when I got home that weekend, and didn't hear anything. Wrote another letter 1 month after, so on February 8th, sent it for Valentine's Day, and never heard anything until April. In April, I received a letter through the correspondence program from my recipient, and he described how he ended up needing a kidney and what his wife did. And his wife donated a kidney altruistically to move him up to the top of the transplant list. So his wife was not a match for him, but she was explained the voucher program that allowed her to move him up. She ultimately saved another person's life. That's where the paired kidney exchange program comes in place. I saved his life. She saved somebody else. And it went on for 2 more pairs after that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's exciting.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. After your donation, how would you describe the state of your health? People, you know, Mike, people worry that, I donate a kidney, I'm going to go downhill, or I'm only going to have one. And, how was your health after you donated? And you started this great chain of kidney donations across the country.
Yes. It's amazing. It's like nothing ever happened. So, just cut to the chase. I'm normal. I wasn't immediately. So I had no pain really when I left the hospital. My pain level really never got over a 4 or a 5. And that was even exaggerated. It was probably a 1 or a 2, and I wouldn't even call it pain. It was just I had a binder on, like a girdle, hold your belly in place, and I really had no pain. On the day I was released, I didn't have any pain meds. They gave me pain meds to go. I asked for them because I said, I sure hope I don't end up with any pain. I had zero pain, zero. And when I went home, I was told 6 weeks to recover would be great if you can do that. You need plenty of rest, plenty of hydration, and to slowly build back your diet because immediately you're not very hungry. I lost about 12 to 13 pounds. I gained 6 of it back. So I'm still about 7 pounds less than I was pre-donation, but my kidney didn't weigh that much. But then I recovered very well. I slept a lot. And the biggest side effect for me, which is for a lot of people, is fatigue. So for fatigue, that can last several months to a half a year to a year. And everybody is different. Everyone that donates, there's different ages, male, female, different levels of activity in their life. And for me, I will admit, I fell asleep at my desk twice for probably a minute. And that is normal because all of a sudden you can get really tired. But then, you kind of wake up and you're back to your normal self. I would say now I'm at about 98, 99% Mike, like I was pre-donation. There is still that little bit of fatigue that if you overexert yourself and you're like when I did 102 miles, and actually it wasn't 102 this year, it was reduced because of weather, but I did 58 and a half miles. I was in bed by 9:30 that night. And, that's just being conscious of not overdoing it. Listen to your body. But I was a little bit more fatigued than I normally was at the end of a day like that. But as far as health, I can do everything I've done before. I feel great. I'm still full of energy, still riding my bike as much as I can. Matter of fact, on my 6-month kidneyversary on July 8th, I wanted to recognize the hospital that I donated kidney to. And I wanted to show people via social media that you can still live a normal, healthy life after you donate. So what did I do? I rode my bike 74 miles one way to the transplant hospital from my house. Celebrated that, rang the bell of hope and gratitude. Next day, I rode my bike from my house to another transplant hospital, 31 miles round trip. Did the same thing, celebrated, recognized the transplant hospital. And then the third day, I rode from our kidney foundation office to the other transplant hospital. We have 3 in Wisconsin. I wanted to recognize all 3 because all 3 are great and do a wonderful job saving lives. And that was the finale. I had rode 123 miles in 3 days, very hot days, 90 degrees each day. And I was fine. So when you ask about my health, I am living a normal, healthy, happy life post-donation.
Where did your transplant take place? Which hospital?
My transplant or my donation was at UW Health in Madison. And then, of course, we have Frederick Hospital in Milwaukee and Aurora St. Luke's in Milwaukee.
Do you know how your recipient has been doing since the time of the transplant?
Yes. In the letter, he had stated that they had a roller coaster of dialing in the medication. The immunosuppressive drugs are the hardest thing to get used to when you go through a transplant. And during that time, that was the reason why I hadn't heard from him sooner, is between him and his wife, they were adjusting to their new life. Her being a kidney donor and him being a kidney recipient. He was doing very well. He was hoping to retire in 2 to 3 years. Still couldn't believe that a stranger would donate a kidney, and they were forever grateful. Their family was grateful. And it appeared he was doing very well.
Excellent. Please talk to us about your experience with the National Kidney Registry Voucher Program and how that works. How many vouchers were received for your family and, more importantly, your diabetic son?
I'm glad you asked that question. The vouchers are a very interesting way of intriguing people because people are not aware of this program unless people like myself are out there talking to you about it. When you donate a kidney to a family member, you're moving them up to the top of the transplant list by a directed donation. When you're non-directed, you also can receive a voucher if you want to designate to, say, a friend, or if you know somebody in the community, and you move them up to the top of the transplant list. But as an altruistic living kidney donor, where you're donating to anyone out in the country that needs a kidney, my recipient happened to be in Wisconsin. You can receive through the National Kidney Registry. The hospital has to be a member of the National Kidney Registry program. There are 103 hospitals nationwide that are a member. They coordinate all of these very intricate, it's a very complex process of finding the matches and so forth. They offer up to 5 vouchers that you can give to your family. All 5 are not active. Only one can become activated. So say our son needed a kidney transplant someday. He has a 50% likelihood of needing a kidney someday, hopefully never, but if he does, he can turn that voucher in. And in order to get the voucher, you need to name them. They need to provide identification. They need a blood test and a urine test and a swab analysis that's mailed to your home. So it's not as simple as just putting a name on a card and saying, here, this is who I'd like. They need to be on their system. And so how the voucher works is Andy says, I need a kidney transplant. He turns that in. It's activated. The other 4 expire. And he is moved right to the top of the transplant list. They already have the data on him. They're able to make the best case scenario match nationwide. I may not be able to be a match to him someday. So say 5 years from now, he needed a kidney and, I want to volunteer and donate my kidney. I may not be a match. But through the program, you can donate to somebody else and he gets a better match. So the same for my wife and daughter-in-law and grandson. If any of them needed a kidney transplant, they turn their voucher in. But again, only one can be activated. This is a game changer because the more people know about this, they start thinking, okay, I want to help somebody. That should be the reason why they want to donate in the first place, is I just want to help somebody. But there is also this, what I call golden ticket or a bonus, and it's a way to protect your family. And that's how I talk to my family about it. I'm not only am I helping others out, but I can protect you by having you have a voucher. And that made a lot of sense to the family. And then they really understood why I was also wanting to help. So this is a very important program that may inspire other people to consider becoming a living kidney donor.
Okay. Let's talk for a moment about your 6-month kidneyversary and your 123-mile cycling in celebration of your donation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I shared some of that already. The whole idea of doing the 123 miles, 3 transplant facilities in Wisconsin, was again to bring recognition to their programs, show that a 60 soon to be 61, which I am now. 61-year-old can be out there living a normal, healthy, happy life post donation. And so I did that, shared that on social media, talked on National Public Radio and Wisconsin Public Radio about it. And again, raising awareness. So not only advocacy is important, but raising awareness and educating people. And so that was a unique way to bring organ donation, living organ donation, and cycling and living a normal life to light.
Okay. I read that you were an award winner with the Freeman's 2020 Citizen of the Year Award. Can you please tell us what that recognition is all about?
Yeah, that was a few years ago. So in 2020, the local newspaper for Waukesha County, Wisconsin, and the immediate region has a Citizen of the Year program, and I was nominated by two individuals, a person that I knew for many years in another community, and then the former mayor of another community that I work closely with on the Waukesha County Board. And they saw my involvement with the community. They knew a lot about me and how active I was in the community, not only from an elected official standpoint as a county board supervisor, but also in nonprofit, in manufacturing, fundraising, and so forth. And they nominated me. And so through all the nominations that the newspaper receives, they selected the Citizen of the Year. So I was named the 2020 Freeman Citizen of the Year.
Wow. We recently, we talked in the introduction about the NKF's Kidney Heroes Giving Day. Can you tell us what that is all about?
Yes, again, that is recognizing a kidney hero, whether it's a living donor, whether it's a dialysis patient, a kidney recipient, a kidney doctor, a social worker, dialysis technician, anybody in those areas, who's your kidney hero? And National Kidney Foundation does this every year in August to recognize that person. So through social media, you recognize that person and you make a donation on their behalf, the National Kidney Foundation. And so, it's a great program to not forget about all of the kidney heroes in your community, in your life, and a way to bring them to light as well.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about the process of becoming a certified NKF Living Donor Pure Mentor. Explain what that means and why it's important to you.
Yes, the peer mentor program, it's a very diligent, very extensive training process that not only includes online training and testing, but also live role playing and so forth. National Kidney Foundation gets inquiries all year long on how there are people out there that want to know more about their experience, what this is like. Can you guide me, and so forth? These are people that have signed up to become a living kidney donor, and they need somebody to talk to. And so they reach out to National Kidney Foundation, and National Kidney Foundation's Peer Mentor, Living Kidney Peer Mentor program allows a certified peer mentor to talk to them, answer questions from a living donor's perspective on not only their experience and share stories, but also to listen and be a listening ear and provide resources to that potential living kidney donor. And what it means to me is I want to continue helping people by sharing not only my experience, but being a listening ear and guiding them as they ask questions. And so it's fulfilling to me because it's a way I can continue to help people beyond what I've already done being a living kidney donor. And so I have one more test to get through, and then I should become a living kidney peer mentor.
Right. Okay, we're in the home stretch here, Mike. Do, do you have any final statements that you wish to make to our audience before we conclude the broadcast for the day?
Another great question for me. So I would say, in this world of, there's a lot of sadness and people that need hope and guidance. And, you can look at the bad side of things or you can look at the good side. And I'm a positive person. I always have been. I got that from my parents and how they raised me. And if there's anything that people can get out of today's conversation is each of us can make a difference by offering hope. Um, Offering hope is the best gift that you can give people because then they can do with it what they would like. And I have so many examples of offering hope through giving people four-leaf clovers. I find hundreds of four-leaf clovers every year. And the first leaf of that four leaves is hope. Hope, faith, love, and luck. And offering hope can make a difference to people. And so, whether you're considering being a living kidney donor, whether you're considering donating blood, whether you're considering volunteering at a local church or a nonprofit, be a listening ear, offer hope, and spread the light. Be some sunshine to someone, and it makes you feel better as well. And that's my fuel for life is helping others feel better and making a positive impact in their life. And you can do that too. Just remember, you can be the one that can offer hope to others, and it will come back to you in manyfold. And I really appreciate people listening to my hour long of sharing these experiences and what this has been like. And I hope it inspires you.
Mike, what a tremendous broadcast this has been. Just a great learning experience for all of us from the master. And I'm so grateful that you came on and took time to speak with us. I know you're a busy guy. I know you have other appointments today. And I just wanted to say thank you for taking time to educate all of us.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. I've got a few things to button up with my audience about what's going on next week. I'm going to let you go, but again, tremendous job today. Thank you so very much. It's going to be my great pleasure to share this broadcast all over the universe.
Thank you. So long.
All right. Bye-bye, Mike. All right. That's our broadcast for today. Next week, we have Father Bob and some of the brothers of Suzanne Ruff. You remember Suzanne's been on with us a couple of times. She's known as the Reluctant Donor, wrote a book. So we're going to talk to Father Bob and her brothers. Should be an interesting broadcast. I'm in the process of creating a replay for this broadcast, and I will share that on social media. I will remind everybody that if you want to drill down on Michael Crawley, you can do that. Just go to my Facebook page, Jim Myers. This broadcast and the replay will be pinned to the top of my Facebook page. If you go into the comments, there's all the links and the things that I learned while I was preparing for the broadcast. So you can check it out. Please share the broadcast. Your Uncle Jim shares an incredible amount, but it's not as meaningful as if, our friend Mike shares and if you guys share. So please share so we can get the word out there. Such a terrific job today that Michael did. And I thank you, and I will see you next week.